I am Iron Man.
In the first movie, Iron Man grows from being hedonistic and selfish into a compassionate guy willing to change the world for what he sees as the better. However, there are so many people in the movie since probably wish he would have just stayed only looking out for himself.
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you.
Iron Man's biggest flaw. Iron Man is a mess. He flip-flops so far as what he's going to do, and then overcommits 100% to whatever his gut reaction is immediately, which is often counter to what it just was a minute ago.
So I've decided that you just died, pal. And on the off chance you're a man, here's my home address.
He is so reckless.
Fill me.
Iron Man became a good guy after the arc in his first movie, but now going into Civil War, he's seemingly a puppet of a larger system. The whole point in the first and second Iron Man movies was that he would do things on his own because then he would be able to do the right thing, which was later shown to be bad because what he thinks is the right thing ended up being Ultron later. This is similar to how in Iron Man 2, he makes it clear that he doesn't want to join the Avengers.
I told you I don't want to join your super secret boy band.
I remember you do everything yourself. How's it working out for you?
But then feels bitter in the beginning of Avengers they were ever doubting whether or not he should join the team. Then all the stuff goes down in New York and Avengers, and he's willing to risk his life for everyone by diverting the nuke. So really, he's not all bad, don't get me wrong. But starting with Iron Man 3, he's just driven by fear and self-preservation. But he reacts in the end of Iron Man 3 by destroying all his suits, which while that may have been an interesting thing for the character to do, he's right back in the fray at the beginning of Avengers 2, not only with a full set of suits, but also creating Ultron for the exact reason why he was creating all the suits in Iron Man 3, which is fear of something huge hitting him again and him being unprepared. He becomes obsessed with trying to find ways to make himself feel secure. And he goes so far with it. Now in Civil War, he's overcommitting to trying to feel secure again, but this time by siding 100% with the government, who he thinks will be secure and be able to keep him in check.
The suit and I are one. To turn over the Iron Man suit would be to turn over himself, which is tantamount to indentured servitude or prostitution, depending on what state you're in.
I have successfully privatized world peace.
If we can't accept limitations, we're no better than bad guys. We need to be put in check. Whatever form that takes, I'm game.
Okay, but look, Tony doesn't try to solve every problem by going to war the way Cap does. Tony's first reaction to any problem is to try to outsmart it, which in his often justified pride, he almost always thinks he can. But he doesn't think of the implications his ideas could have. His heart's in the right place in wanting to do the right thing, but he doesn't really have any moral foundation to base what he views as the right thing. He isn't thoughtful how his actions actually affect other people. He only acts based off his gut. He's smart, but he's not really analytical as much as he just intuitively pushes forward constantly.
Not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you.
I think I would just cut the wire.
Like, no one would ever call Tony Stark wise. You would say he's really smart, but no one would say he has any amount of wisdom to him. Also, in a sense, he fights evil for the opposite reason Cap does. Cap does it because his whole life revolves around fighting, but Iron Man does it almost as a hobby on the side. And to Tony, the ends 100% justify the means. If he's fighting for something that's right, he's willing to do almost anything to get to that goal.
That's Stark.
Well, maybe a way to blow up the city. That'll keep it from impacting the surface if you guys can get clear.
I asked for a solution, not an escape plan.
You're gonna have to make a choice.
But isn't that why so many people throughout history or in film are seen as bad? Not because their ends are bad, because what they'll do to achieve them is.
You know, you may not be a threat, but you better stop pretending to be a hero.
And we also need to look at the implications him making Ultron has. He is so scarred from the attack in New York that shook his whole worldview and sense of security, much in the way we were shook after the 9/11 attacks. Both Iron Man and us reacted to try to stop something like that from ever happening again.
I see a suit of armor around the world.
Which arguably our reaction gets out of hand too, and causes way more damage in a country halfway around the world than ever happened here to begin with. But even at home, the NSA was a huge reaction by the government. That Iron Man making everyone want to work with the government and be kept in check for the sake of security is similar in both. As Ben Franklin said, those who give up freedom for security will have neither. How did even Iron Man end up a puppet of the establishment?
It's complicated.
Is it? Not for me. I can make a choice. I can fight for what's right.
If I see a situation pointed south, I can't ignore it. Sometimes I wish I could, but the safest hands are still our own.
For so long, he was almost libertarian, saying that a private citizen could own all this intense weaponry. And now he says anyone with any powers at all has to work 100% with the government and do exactly what they say. All of this shows that while not a warmonger, Iron Man changed his stances a ton. How can someone who flip-flops so much also stubbornly always think that they're right? Like and subscribe. Be sure to check out my video here on Captain America's biggest flaw. And also, here's my video on why Hercules is the best Superman movie. Hope you guys stick around.